तिथं काय म्हणणार की आता आपल्याला सांगितलं ना पेशंट आहे काय म्हणणार की पेशी तिकडचं करायचं म्हणजे चालू करून बघायचं ते केलं असतं ना काय पेनामध्ये फक्त ब्लॅक काय ब्लॅक पेन फक्त चेक करा बरोबर
बहुत फिटनेस कर रही है मैथ्स मैथ्स में ट्रिग्नोमेट्री का थोड़े बहुत कुछ कर रहे हैं यस ये याद नहीं आ रहा पर वो खत्म ही हो गया क्या फायदा भी फिगर ले याद तो नहीं इसलिए है ना सब स्कूल में खत्म हो चुके हैं इसके अगर रिव्यू की कौन सा नहीं किया ये तो पता ही क्या चल रहा है हाँ क्या कर रहा था पूरा हाँ एक्ट बस 1 2 3 कब कराया वो तो नहीं कर रहा था नहीं कर रहा था हाँ हाँ अब मेरा नेट का बहुत कर रहा है हाँ लग गई हाँ ऊपर से
Hello.
So,
So, how are you?
working
What is that? Working.
yes
And how are you? You look fresh today.
ये उसके बाद
Almost.
almost अरे क्या आज ही
क्या आया था?
तू नीचे आया था
ICSE
तूने तो
ये खाना ही So that question.
Last time you all said that you have not done cheat Seattle speech
no we have started like, we haven't done the cheese yet that's now
in your school, but here we have not done.
yes
Oh,
Yeah.
आ गया?
वो हाँ मेरा भी पूछना है
What all do you have?
जो पहले करेगा वो बोलेगा मैंने खोल दिया
अरे यार
इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज में डिस्क्रिप्टिव राइटिंग नरेटिव राइटिंग लेटर राइटिंग में फॉर्मल एंड फॉर्मल फिर लॉजिक एंड ईमेल फिर कॉम्प्रिहेंशन सब्जेक्ट वर्ब एग्रीमेंट एक्टिव पैसिव वॉइस यूज ऑफ एज सोन एज नॉट सोन देन हार्डली व्हेन इंटरचेंज ऑफ सेंटेंसेस टाइम एंड टेंसेस tense one and
my
two
god
sequences of tenses preposition comparison of writing
Okay.
और लिटरेचर में मर्चेंट ऑफ वेनिस एक्ट 1 टिल एक्ट 2 सीन 6 पोएट्री में हार्ट ऑफ द ट्री कोल्ड विदिन बैंगल सेलर द आफ्टर ग्रेजुएट
ये सब तो तुम्हारा हो गया है.
और एक और है चीफ थिएटर स्पीच ओल्ड मैन एंड द ब्रिज हार्ट्स एंड हैंड्स
Okay. So इसमें से cheat Seattle speech बाकी है.
हाँ
Poems are all done, right?
हार्ट्स एंड हैंड्स
Hearts and hand तो हमने पहले ही किया था.
हाँ क्या भी नहीं होता
पर
आपको नहीं आया था याद है पूरी पूरी
Hearts and hands. Remember वो दो ट्रेन से जाते रहते हैं.
अरे हाँ पर सेकंड पता है कब हुआ था कभी तो हुआ था
मुझे नहीं ना.
मैम मेरा है लैंग्वेज में कॉम्पोजिशन लेटर राइटिंग छोड़ो ग्रामर में verbs prepositions combination of sentences and transformation of sentences वो नाम हो गए फिर लिटरेचर में द मर्चेंट ऑफ वेनिस का पूरा एक्ट 1 और फिर उधर लिटरेचर टॉप की स्टोरीज में से चीज या स्पीच ओल्ड मैन एंड द ब्रिज एंड अ हॉर्स एंड टू गोट्स
वो किया ना मगर तुम्हारा हो गया ना you said a horse and two goats.
हॉर्स एंड टू गोट्स यहाँ पर ही
नहीं हुआ.
अब तेरा चैप्टर का चैप्टर थोड़ा सा मैं भूलता हूँ
ओके ठीक. तेरा पेज का.
हाँ तेरा पेज का sorry and the from poetry it's the heart of the tree the Bangalore setter and after
So poetry poems all poems are done.
yes
So today we'll do Chief Theatre speech. I know. होता है ना. That is poetry. Okay. Now, before we start Chief Theatre speech, you need to understand the background. Hello, Rijul. So we are doing the Chief Theatre speech today. Okay. Now, so what is the background? के लिए ना तुम्हें पहले अमेरिका की हिस्ट्री समझनी पड़ेगी. Okay. So you know US. Any idea who discovered this continent of US? America.
yeah what was it
Human.
I he was a voyager from the land who went
No, he was not a voyager from England.
He was a pilot.
he was just a normal person
From sea.
as he just called American Indian but what was the name it was something Colombian
Columbus.
Columbus
Now, it so happened that Columbus wanted to find a route to go to India. Okay.
Go to India.
Yeah, सबको इंडिया आना होता था ना. Everybody wanted to come to India. So, and that time it was to move that Earth is round. So he said because the Earth is round, everybody is trying to go towards east, and they get stuck. Let me go from west. Other India, if the world is round, then even if I go towards east to look for India, or even if I go towards west, I should finally reach India. Right? Now, the thing was, in that time, people did not know that there is a big continent towards the west of Europe. They thought there is Asian continent, there is European continent, and there is African continent. That's it. There is nothing more than that. So he started sailing towards west. Sailing for 2 months. Kuch nahi mila. He was tired. He was about to turn. And then saw that one night he saw few lights. Dim lights. There is light and there is a night. There is land. And they started sailing towards that direction. And they were so thrilled that they reached India. There were these tall, the description fit every perfectly. There were tall palm trees, and there were women, and these women wore nose rings, they wore toe rings, and they had heard about all these descriptions. And they were like super thrilled to reach India. Somehow everything did not match. They had heard the brown complexion, these were little reddish complexion, and but they thought they reached India and they came back. And after the third time when he went back, he realized this is not India. Somehow the whole thing does not match. And he has discovered a new land. Now, since the people living there, because he thought it was India, they started calling it India. But then the people had reddish complexion. So these people, they started calling them red Indians. And because he went towards west and found this place, they called it West Indies. This easy. Okay. It was Amerigo Vespucci, a later sailor, who then found out that there is land above West Indies Islands also. And he found what is today's America, and therefore America was known, the continent of America was named after him, Amerigo Vespucci. He went there and after that, many Europeans started coming. The Europeans who were traveled in Europe, they wanted to run away from the religious persecution because that was the time when there was this fight between Catholics and Protestants, and Catholics were persecuting Protestants. So they used to run away. There were some people wanted to run away to, they had done committed some crime, so they wanted to run away to the new land, start a new life. People for different reasons wanted to come to this new world. Now, this new land was not an empty land. There were originally people living there. These original people, they called them Red Indians, because same kind of people from West Indies to the Northern America. Then the first ship came to America with these the people were tired after a 3 months journey. Some of them were, sick. When we got down on this land, the aborigines are the original people. The people there, the original people there, they were like, fine, new people have come here, you're our guests, you're tired. We welcomed them. They gave them food to eat, they gave them place to stay, they gave them, what their local medicines were, and they took care of them. That is one of the reasons why Thanksgiving is celebrated. Thanksgiving to the original abode, America, land where they got seen. Anyway, and they welcomed them. It was the biggest mistake that they did. Because after first ship came the second ship, then third, the ships kept coming over the period of time. The ships kept coming, and what these people did is they started occupying areas, land, and now they started pushing these people, the original American people, towards inside. So all these important colonies, 13 colonies that England established, were all on the coast. So they occupied 13 states and pushed these people inside. Because when they came, they had better guns, they had better weapons, they had more trained army, trained people. And these were, they too had their own culture, but they were not as advanced when it came to guns as the Europeans. This did not stop. As their population started increasing, they took over their lands. Initially, only the coastal region was taken. They started pushing. They started pushing them towards the west. They started pushing them towards the middle, central part of America first. So, they refused, then they would have wars. They would kill, they would plunder, they killed huge number of aborigines. And you all know that along with these sailors, the missionaries followed. And the missionaries also started spreading and converting the aborigines on a large scale. If you read the exploitation done to the original American people, you start making Europeans. Europeans exploited the whole world, but they exploited Americans to the core. That is, they pushed them, they gave them areas which they did not want. To such an extent that they only had, now there was a time in 1854, he gave this speech in 1854. They started from East Coast, they started pushing them to the center, they pushed them to the mountainous areas, then they pushed them towards near the forest regions. They pushed and evacuated and occupied their land so much that they pushed them all the way to the west. There was nothing to the west. They occupied the whole area. And then you saw you people are so little. You people are so few. Why do you need so much land? Why do you need so much land? So this is one speech when there was this one group of um, red Indian people. They were asked to give their land, and they were asked to retain some small portion of their land and give away the remaining, because they needed the land for farming and for everything. That's when Chief Seattle, who was a leader of this, gave this speech. It's a very, actually a very sad speech. But the language is a little difficult. Next.
Like my friend also.
Like-
Me too.
Language is difficult because this is old English again. Okay, the time is Treaty of Oration, 1854. Yonder sky that has wept tears of compassion upon my people for centuries untold, and which to us appears changeless and eternal, may change. So this clear sky that has wept tears of compassion. What are tears of compassion? Rain. That has given us rain for centuries. It has given rain to us, it has given us food, given us shelter, and it always appears changeless, and this will never change. This is eternal, it is always there with us. May change. Today it's said, today is good. Tomorrow it may be overcast with clouds. Today it is fine. Tomorrow it may be overcast with clouds. Means tomorrow there may be problems. Clear sky, no problems. Overcast with clouds, problems. My words are like the stars that never change. Whatever Seattle says, the great chief at Washington can rely upon with as much certainty as he can upon the return of the sun or the season. So he says, and his words, Seattle's words are like, Chief Seattle's words are like stars. They never change. And he should be certain. Who should be certain? The chief, the American chief, the white chief, who's in the Washington. Washington is the capital. Who's sitting in the Washington. He should understand that my words are like stars. They will never change. And as much certainty as he can, he should be certain. How certain he should be? He should be as certain as sun and seasons. There is every day there will be sun. Every year there will be seasons. As it never changes, he should be certain that my words are like, my words will also not change. The white chief says that big chief at Washington sends us greetings of friendship and goodwill. Now you need to understand, there is this one chief at Washington, as the head, maybe president. And the president has sent a man, his ambassador, his general, to talk to this chief person of this. So there are two white people he's talking to. One is the one who's come with the message, and the other one is the one who's sitting in the Washington. They're telling us friendship and goodwill. This is kind of him, for we know he has little need of our friendship in return. Yeah, we know. He doesn't require our friendship. His people are many. Now he's used examples. His people are many. What is he telling? They are like the grass that covers vast prairies. So these white people, they are like grass which covers the vast ground. My people are few. They resemble the scattered trees of storm-swept plains. How do they resemble? He says, if you see an area which is hit by a storm, when the area is hit by a storm, then most of the trees fall. Very few keep standing. So he says, my people are like those trees which are standing. Very few. The great and I presume good white chief sends us word that he wishes to buy our land, but is willing to allow us enough to live comfortably. This indeed appears just even generous, for the red man no longer has the rights that he needs respect. And the offer may be wise, also as we are no longer in need of an extensive country. Now, he's not actually saying, you need to understand this is sarcasm. He says that he wants to buy our land. That's right, no? We don't need any respect. We are few. We don't need any land. You're many. So you think you need respect and you need more land. So therefore you are taking the land from us. So he wants to buy their land. He knows if he refuses, there will be a war. If there is war, there will be bloodshed. The white people have better weapons. They will kill the young. So therefore, Chief Captain is wise. He says, we agree. But then this deal is an unfair deal. You're saying you want more because you deserve more, and we don't deserve it. We don't need the respect that you're taking. You are snatching our land from us. Read. Rijul, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Second paragraph. There was a
There
time.
was a time when our people covered the land as the weight of wind, sea covered, shell paved floor. But that time long since passed away with the greatness of tribes that are now but mournful memories. I will not dwell on nor mourn over our
Untimely.
untimely decay, nor reproach my pale face brother with his living, as we too may have been somewhat to blame.
Okay, so he says there was a time when our people covered the land, this land, as the sea, would cover the shell paved floor. You know, if you see the sea floor, it is covered with shells, seashells. So this is the way you have the sea covers the seashells, shell paved floor. The same way, my people have covered this entire land. But that was long ago. It's just a mournful memory. It's a very sad memory now. Now we have very little land left with us. I will not dwell on it, nor will I blame anyone. He says, I will not dwell on nor mourn over our untimely decay. Says, I'm not going to feel sad today or mourn or cry about that. My clan, my people are becoming fewer and fewer every day. Nor reproach my pale-faced brothers. Who are pale-faced brothers? The white people. He says, I'm not going to scold the the white people for hastening it. Because it is they who have brought this decay. It is they who have, caused this damage to us. Maybe we too have been somewhat to blame. Even we are to blame. Read.
Youth is impulsive. When a young man grow angry and some real or imaginary wrong, and disfigure their faces with black paint, it denotes that their hearts are black, and that they have often cruel and relentless and our old men and old women are unable to restrain them. Thus it has ever been, it was when the white men began to push our forefathers ever westward. But let us hope that the hostilities between us will never return. We would have everything to lose and nothing to gain. Revenge by young men is considered great, even at the cost of their own lives. But old men who stay at home in times of war, and mothers who have sons to use, no better.
He says that young people are impulsive. They take actions without thinking. Impulsive means when you do something without thinking. When our young men, imagine this is your land and these people have come. It is like Britishers. They came to India, they occupied our land. But their condition was worst. When ours was not very good, but theirs was worse because they were pushed inside, and they were left with very little land. There were constant wars, and they tried to they looked down on them. That was their land. They looked down on them. They tried to they forced them to change their way. They forced them to change their religion, and therefore the young people would get angry. And they would get angry, and then it was a custom that when you are waging a war with others, the Red Indian community would paint their face with black colors and stripes, and then they would go out for a war. So he says that when these men get angry, young men get angry, they paint their face with black paint, it denotes that their heart has also turned black. Because once the war starts, you are cruel. They are cruel, they are relentless, they want to, at any cost, they want to win. He says that it has been this way for generations. Even when the white man started pushing our forefathers towards the west, even that time, these young men, the young men then got angry, painted their face, and instead of thinking and planning properly, they suddenly waged war, which led to a lot of killing. So he says, young men think that it is okay to lose life because you're trying to gain something. But he says, ask the old man who's waiting at home or the mother who's going to lose her own son, the difficulties that they are going to face. And they know that it's not going to be a very fruitful achievement. They're not going to win against the huge number of whites that had occupied America.
Our good father in Washington, for I
A few more moments.
Our good father in Washington, for I presume he is now our father, as well as yours. Since King George has moved his boundaries further north, our great and good father God that if we do as he desires, he will protect us. His great warriors will be to us a distinct war of strength, and his wonderful ships of war will set our harbors so that our ancient enemies far to the northward, the
Hidas,
Kedar and
Sintians,
will
see.
to frighten our women, children, and old men.
Okay, now wait. I'll just explain. You understood what this means? Now, our good father in Washington. That means whoever is the head in Washington, he's calling him as father. Okay. So he says, okay, this head is the way he is your father now, father of white people. He's also our father because he has agreed to protect us. Because he has said that he desires, he will protect us. His brave warriors, they will protect us. His ships will be in our harbors so that we are protected from our ancient enemies. Now, see, there were different tribes, different Red Indian tribes. And when there are different tribes, different tribes used to fight with each other earlier. So there were different names of these tribes. Some of these tribes were called Shimshians and Haidars. The one wrong thing they did was, it's like how in India, when one state was captured, others did not come to their help because they don't know, anyway, that was our enemy. Good, he got captured. The same thing happened there. The tribes never got together and fought against the white people. So white people managed to defeat those small, different tribes. He prodded this time they have come to this particular tribe whose chief is Chief Seattle. And he has told them that don't worry. Remember, you have these Haidas and Shimshians who are your ancient from long time, they are your enemies. They threaten your people, they threaten your women. We will protect you from them. And he too knows. This is just they're showing us the carrot. This is Raja Bihar, showing you the carrot. This is just so that you agree.
Then in reality, he will be our father and be his children. But can that ever be? Your God is not our God. Your God loves your people and lives mine. He holds his strong protecting arms lovingly about the pale face and leads him by the hand as a father leads an infant son. But he has forsaken his red children if they really are his. Our God, the Great Spirit, seems also to have forsaken us. Your God makes your people back stronger every day, so they will fill all the land. Our people are ebbing away like a rapidly receding tide that will never return. The white man's God cannot love our people or he would protect them. They seem to be orphans who can look nowhere for help.
Okay, fine. Now he says, see, as I said, every time the warriors or the sailors went out, along went the missionaries, okay, to spread Christianity. And so therefore we see whenever they occupied the land, they tried to spread Christianity, that our God will also protect you. Our God has died for your cause and he will protect you. That is how they would propagate Christianity. So therefore he's saying that you say that we must give up our God and we must believe in your God. But I don't think your God and our God is same. Because your God is protecting you more and not protecting his red-faced children. Because he's holding their hand and leading them towards progress. The number of white people are increasing while the number of red Indians is decreasing day by day, decreasing like the tide, the low tide. You have high tide, which spreads towards the shore, and the low tide that ebbs, which goes inside. So our tide is like a low tide which has gone inside and never going to come out again. Our numbers have gone down so much. So how can you say your God will protect us? He says, looks like your God doesn't love us. He only loves you. He will only protect you. And unfortunately, he says, the spirits, they believed in spirits. Our God, that is the spirits, they have also forsaken us. They have also forgotten us. They have also left us. They are also not ready to protect us. So he says, we are like the orphans who can look nowhere for help. We are like orphans. Neither your God nor our God is ready to come to our help, is ready to save us. How then can we be brothers? So you are saying we are brothers, give us your land, we are brothers. How then can we be brothers? How can your God become our God and renew our prosperity and awaken in us dreams of returning greatness? If we have a common heavenly Father, he must be partial. Because they would say, no, there is only one God, and it is everyone's God. the way he loves you all. It's just that there is really one heavenly Father. Then this Father is very, very partial. For he came to his pale-faced children, and we never saw him. That is, he came to see, he helped his pale-faced children, and we have never experienced him. He has never come to our help. Never have we won the war. Never have any great thing ever happened to us since the time these white people have come to America. He gave you laws, but had no word for his red children, whose teeming multitudes once filled the vast continent as stars fill the firmament. No, we are two distinct races with separate origins and separate destinies. There is little in common between us. So he says, don't tell us we are brothers. Don't tell us our God is seen. There is only one God. Because this God, we have not seen this God. He has never helped us. He has only been kind to you. And therefore, this was a land which was covered by his red children. He did not protect them. And therefore, we are not brothers. We don't have anything in common. The reality is we are two different races with separate destinies. Our destinies are different. Either you will get land or we'll get land. Both of us will never live together because you want us to live like you, look like you, act like you, and we have our own distinct culture. We don't want to leave that. They had their own distinct culture, language, religion, and the white Americans tried to wipe out everything. They tried to tell them that this is backward, this is not the correct thing. I happened to read something recently. There was this group of American, that is American Indian people. They went to Vatican City. They went to Vatican City to meet Pope. And they said they've been demanding this for a very, very long time. They said that Pope should openly say sorry for the wrongs that they have done to the Native American. So this time when Pope went to Canada, he said one of the reasons I'm going there because right from Canada to South America actually. He said I'm just going there to say sorry to avenge the wrongs done to them. We can never do away with that. I wanted to know what wrong was done. So I started reading. It seems, the white man has this ability that you think that only white man has feelings, reds, brown, black people. They are as equal to animals. So what they would do is these people, the red Indians, the missionaries would say that we are doing a favor to you. We are introducing you to a better religion, a better God, and we are educating you. So they would take the children. The children were put in the hostel or the residential schools, and then they would exploit the children to no end. So they were beaten up and they were forcefully converted, and those children they had no choice. But even then, they would think that these are aborigines, these are like original people, they are not white people. That means, so therefore, they would make them work for them. The way they would trade the slaves, if you have read the stories, and so many times, because of their hatred, out of their hatred, they would kill these children. They would beat them up, kill them, rape the young girls, and then bury them somewhere. And the families never would come to know what happened to their children who have gone to school to study. So then, as the years pass, and as the children who returned back home from the school, some of them escaped from there, they started telling about how they are treated there. And of course, over the period of time, the laws changed, some people openly started criticizing it. And now, so it seems the number is in thousands or more than that, that, thousands of young children were killed, exploited, assaulted, and buried somewhere. So now they want to know where our people are, where our children, what happened to our children, where our brothers and sisters, where they disappeared. So now they are trying to conduct research. And that's when they realize that the whole exploitation took place, by the missionary schools and by the white people. So therefore, they say that now, at least now the Pope should say so. And then they would force them not to speak your language, don't speak your language, only learn speak English. Because everything that they do, they told them, try to teach them that it is wrong and bad, substandard. Okay. To us, the ashes of our ancestors are seen. Now he's telling how they are different. We are two different races. Ritual, will you read? Are you there? Very difficult when I can't see you. Hello, Ritual. Okay. Read. To us, page 44.
Who are the active of our ancestors are sacred and their rescue to follow down. You wander far from the grave of your ancestors and deeply without regret. Your religion was written upon tablets of stone by the iron finger of the god so that you could not forget. The red man could never comprehend or remember it. Our religion is the tradition of our ancestors. The dreams of our God,
Old man.
of our old man, given them in
Solemn arts.
of enlightened by the Great Spirit, and the presence of our
Stockings.
Arcane are in and written in the heart of our people.
Okay. So he says, see, we are two different races. Now, how are we different? He says, see, to us, the ashes of our ancestors are sacred. They to burn their ancestors, they collect the ashes and they eat these ashes. They are sacred. He said, you people, you bury your dead and you run away from that place. You're scared. So you have your graveyards, the graveyards are little away from the city. So you bury your dead and you turn your back without any regret. You go back. Your religion was written upon tablet. Your religion was written on stone. That means something that cannot be changed. To write something on stone means something that cannot be changed. To write something, there are two phases. To write on stone and to write on sand. To write on sand is something that will change. Right? One time, everything gets wiped. So, written on sand is temporary. Written on stone is permanent. Something that will not change. So he had written on stone by iron finger. Something that means your religion is something that God said this, you have to do it. Something that was said 2000 years, you still follow it. So it is not flexible. Our religion is the traditions of our ancestors. So we don't have any written religion. How do we understand our religion? It's come down to us. It's through our traditions. Mother did that, so we did it. We saw mother doing it, so we followed it. That is how our religion has grown with the time. The dreams of our old men given them in solemn hours of the night by the great spirits. That means they believed in spirits. They were not afraid of spirits. They were not there. This concept of ghosts was not there. They had this concept of spirits and they believe that they are all kind. They say, if your grandmother dies or if your mother dies, then how will she back to you? On the contrary, when you have a concept of ghost, it is like once you die, that means you become a ghost. If you see that person, then that means you are a ghost. And then that person will do something, the ghost will do something. So they say the spirits are kind. All these people were our people. And if they die tomorrow, and if their spirits remain, then they are also kind to us. So it's a different concept. So these spirits talk to the old people and their sachins. That is their religious people, okay? And it is written, religion is written on, where is it written? On the hearts of our people. White man's religion is written on stone. Red Indians' religion is written on heart. See, all the ancient religions, you will not find them written down anywhere. There are no rules as such written down. You finished reading, no?
Your tribe cease to love you as the land of their nativity as soon as they pass, the portal of the tomb and wander away beyond the star. They are soon forgotten and never return. Our death never forgets this beautiful world that gave them being. They still love its verdant valleys, its murmuring river, its magnificent mountains,
Sequestered vales,
stirred veil, and its verdant blind waves and waves. And ever here in tender thought affection over the lonely hearted living, and often return from the happy mountain grounds to visit, guide, console, and comfort them.
this is what I told you. They believe that, he says, white man, your dead cease to love. They stop loving you the minute they are dead. And they also stop loving the land of their nativity, the land of their origin. They don't love you, they don't love this land. They pass, you believe the soul has passed. So your dead leaves the land, leaves you, and goes somewhere away. But, and they are often forgotten. They are forgotten, they never return. They are dead, never forget our land. Never forget this beautiful world. Because our dead love this world so much that they never forget. They still love its verdant, lush green valleys, the murmuring rivers, magnificent mountains, sequestered vales, vales is again valleys, and verdant lines, these beautifully lined bays and bays. So they love this nature, and therefore they often return. They often return, and we often see them during in the hunting grounds. They visit us, they guide us, they console us, they comfort us. And he says that we are not scared of our dead never leave us, our dead love us, and our dead are here on this land. They love this land. Day and night cannot dwell together. Day and night, our ideas are like, our beliefs are like day and night. That means exactly opposite. And therefore we cannot live together. The red man has ever fled the approach of the white man, as the morning mist flees before the morning sun. The red man has anyway run away from the white man. How? The way the morning mist, the early morning mist, it vanishes the minute the sun approaches. Then the sun comes in the. Have you seen the mist?
Yes.
But then it disappears the minute you have the sun. You have those you have those wet leaves. Suddenly the leaves become dry the minute the sun comes. Have you noticed the wet leaves in the morning? If you have bars in your balcony, then you'll find them wet if you get up early in the morning, 5:30. They are cold and wet. However, your proposition seems fair, and I think that my people will accept it and will retire to the reservation you offered. Then we will dwell apart in peace. For the words of the great white seem to be the words of nature speaking to my people out of dense darkness. So that's fine. We will take your offer. Then if we live separate, we will fight less. And we both will live in peace. So I accept that it is like a nature is talking to us through this white machine.
It matters with this when past the when they will not be many. The Indian's night promises to be dark, not a single star of hope hovers above his horizon. Sad voiced winds born in the distance. Green fate seems to be on the red and man's trail, and whenever he will hear the approaching footsteps of his cell destroyer and prepares solidly to meet his doom, and there's the wounded door that hears the approaching footsteps of the hunter.
Now it does not matter much because where we spend our remaining days. So since I don't think we have much time. We are going to this our community, our crime is going to reduce, and one day going to come to an end. And therefore there will not be our days will not be many. It's like night. Our future is like a dark night, where there is no hope, where there is no bright day. Bright day is hope. Dark night is no hope. So there is not a single star of hope hovers over our horizon. So why? Usually you know when a traveler travels, it tries to look for the North Star so that it will guide the traveler in the correct direction. This is now we don't see any star. That means we are without any direction, any guidance. Grim fate seems to be on the red man's tree. Our road looks to be very, very grim, sad. He says, wherever he will hear the approaching footsteps of his destroyer, he will prepare solidly to meet the doom. Now we know if the white man has reached till our land, that means it is time for our doom. It's time for our destruction. That is what they have done so far. They will do the same with us. So he says that we know we are scared of white man's approach as a doe. Deer and doe. The doe is scared of the hunter's footsteps. A few more moons, a few more winters, and not one of the descendants of the mighty host that once moved over this broad land or lived in happy homes, protected by great spirits, will remain to mourn over the graves of a people once more powerful and hopeful than yours. I think a few more years, and I think no Red Indian will live here. No Red Indian, but not one of the descendants of the mighty host. They are actually the hosts of that land. They are the owners of this land, but they will not remain. Maybe their tribe, their race will vanish. Their race, the people, the race which moved on that land, lived on that land, they built a happy homes. The race which was protected by these great spirits will no longer be there. But why should I mourn at the untimely fate of our people? Tribe follows tribe, and nation follows nation, like the waves of the sea. Since one tribe will go, the other tribe will come. One nation rises up, the other nation falls, even that nation will fall, other nation will rise up. So it's a cycle. Like the waves of the sea. It is the order of nature and regret is useless. Your time of decay may be distant, but it will surely come. Today, you think you will never die, you will never, your culture will never change. Your decay will come. It may be distant, may not be near future, but it will come. For even the white man whose God walked and talked with him as friend to friend cannot be exempt from the common destiny. The common destiny, even though you say your God is your friend and he's there to guide you, your time will end. Your race will end. We may be brothers after all, we will see. Then we will be brothers. One race which ended, and this race which is ending. We will see. You think their race is ending? White man's race is ending in America? No. But there is so much mixture. What is pure? They took pride in their pure races. Are they pure? They are not
They are
pure.
not pure. But it's not even negative.
Of course. And even Red Indians have their
Yes.
even they are there and they are growing and they are now going back proudly to their religion and their culture and they are trying to save their language. Of course, a lot is lost. So much of language is lost. But have you thought about Machu Picchu? What is Machu Picchu? No idea?
Yes.
One of the wonders of the world. So that entire city is of steps, made of steps, the mountain. How they built it, how the entire mountain was carved into steps, and how it was done, we don't know. That's one of the wonders of the world. But that whole, there are temples and there were their literature in this. And when the Portuguese and the Spanish invaders went there, they just forced the people, missionaries, their missionaries just burn, they just burn the books, the religious books, and forcibly converted people, mass, so much so that the very few people remain to follow and know little of their old religion. So they will call them pagans. And so what they're seeing is a vast source of knowledge was lost when they burned these books because they did not understand. They thought it useless. Since but your doom will come. Your race will also go. It's good that both the races are still fighting. He will ponder, page 45.
We will ponder your
Proposition.
proposition.
That means we will think. Ponder means to think deeply. We will think deeply about your offer. Proposition is offer.
We will ponder your proposition and when we decide, we will let you know. But should we accept it, I here and now make this condition that we will not be able to let without
Molestation of religion at any time. Okay. So what he says is, but should we accept your proposition? You want our land. I will think about it. I hear and now make this condition. I understood, I heard, but I have certain conditions. What is the first one? You will not be denied the privilege without molestation. Once you take our land, you can't come and tell us that hey, they have to shut, beat us. It will never come in this. Never come on the land that we have given to you. Why? Because it is here where lie the tombs of our friends, our ancestors, and naturally. So once you put the plan, don't tell us don't come here, don't come. Push us and beat us and never enter. That is molestation. Without molestation, let us start. Every part of the soil is included in the estimation of my this is long lesson and a heavy lesson. But have you understood at least somewhat, some part? 5 minutes? Visual, were you there? Were you listening? It's better if you
Yes, ma'am.
if you keep your camera on because I asked you to read, but
Ma'am, there is a lot of background noise here. I can't hear anything.
okay.
Ma'am, there are drums playing.
Drums, wow, why?
Ma'am, I think they are practicing for Ganesh Chaturthi.
Ganpati,
Yeah, ma'am.
you're reading Ganpati.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, 5 minutes break, Richard. I'll be back.